And paying our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, who is founder Acharya of ISKCON. We also seek blessings from His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj and His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj, who are our initiating and instructing spiritual masters, respectively. So we are on our journey to chapter 2nd of Bhagavad Gita, which is titled as Contents of the Gita Summarized. And this chapter has 72 verses, right? And we have already covered 4 sections of this chapter. And today we are on the 5th section. So we have actually already initiated the 5th section in our last session. And today, Krishna willing, we will try to cover verse number from 58 onwards till 61. Okay. So here we go with this section, which primarily talks about Sthita Pragya, the qualities of a liberated soul, Jivan Mukta. And we said that, this Sthita Pragya is also known as a devotee, Krishna devotee, right? A person is divine consciousness, a person in Krishna consciousness, right? And this section starts with Arjun asking questions on, different characteristics and symptoms of Sthita Pragya, right? So these are the 4 questions. Ka bhasha and kim prabhasheta. These are the 2 things which we covered in our last session. And just to recap, like in Ka bhasha, the general symptoms, we discussed that Sthita Pragya is someone who will not look outwards towards the external sense object, but will look inwards, right? Inwards means, towards Paramatma. And the representatives of Paramatma are Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Then we also discussed in verse number 56 and 57 about how this person is going to react in case he receives any praise, appreciation, or he's chastised, ridiculed, embarrassed. How would he react to those type of dualities in the world, right? And today we will try to cover the 3rd question of Arjun regarding Sthita Pragya, which is how does this person restrains his senses from the sense objects, right? And in last section, we also understood, what are senses, what are sense objects, right? What are sense objects which, a materialistic person look at to gratify the senses, and what are the external spiritual sense objects which actually facilitate in devotees looking inwards, right? So we basically try to explain you the terminology which is used in order to describe these things, like sense object, mind, transcendental intelligence versus polluted, right? And all those type of steps. So today we start with verse number 2.58. Okay? So who will like to recite this verse in Sanskrit? Anyone can recite it.
I'll do it, Sumanji. Yadha samharte chayam kurmo jnaniva sarvashaha indriyani indriyadebhyastasya prajna pratishtita.
Thank you very much. Someone will read the translation.
Okay, I'll read Smith. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects as the tortoise draw its limbs within the shell is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So here Krishna is talking about that how a devotee, how a sthita pragya is supposed to control or basically protect or safeguard his senses from sense objects. And Krishna gave a very nice example of tortoise. And you might have seen if you have visited temples and looked around carefully, there are many temples in which a tortoise uh, is there. You know, it is carved on the entrance or on the walls. And you know why is that so? Because you know it basically represents that now you are entering the temple, and now you can freely enter the temple, in a sense, use your senses in transcendental um, services of Krishna, in seeing Krishna. Use your karmendriya, basically sweeping the temple, right? And your hands maybe touching the lotus feet of sadhus, right? Your nose is smelling the tulsi leaves offered at the lotus feet of Krishna, right? Your ears in hearing the kirtan, right? So that is why, that is the purpose of why tortoise is carved in temples. But it is also said that tortoise is very smart, in a sense the tortoise know when to withdraw its limbs, right? When it would see fear around, it will withdraw its limbs, because the shield of tortoise is very, very strong. It can protect tortoise in the limbs, right? And basically what we saw was in 2.55 that the characteristics or the symptoms of a sthita pragya is that will detach from external objects. And how sthita pragya is going to detach from external objects is explained in these verses 59, 58 to 63, right? Now, the important thing to understand is that whatever is our weakest part, right? Or whatever is our, what we say loose ends, we definitely safeguard that particular thing more cautiously, right? Or we try to invest more support system to that particular thing, whatever it could be. So here Krishna is saying, Yada samharate chayam. Samharate means withdraws. Kurmo anganiva sarvasha. Ang, limbs. Sarvasha, totally. Kurma means tortoise. Right? Indriyani indriyarthebhyas. Right? Now, indriyani is senses. Indriya artha is sense objects. So, the senses are considered to be the weakest area of our cells. Why? Because the senses are the thing which drives us crazy, right? When the senses will look at sense objects, in our current position, we don't have a purified mind and a transcendental intelligence. So what we look around ourselves is that all the materialistic people, the aim of their life is, the aim of their very life is to gratify the senses, to enjoy, enjoy to the fullest is the motto of their life. Why a spiritualist don't look at things in that sense? We spiritualists who are working under the direction of Paramatma and Krishna understand that senses are our weakest loose end, and we have to protect that. And how are we going to protect that? With transcendental intelligence, right? That is basically the most important things. And thereby, what happens in our Shastras, scriptures, there are many do's and don'ts, yam and niyam. And a, a person who wants to advance in spiritual life, who wants to really get rid of this four problems, which are birth, old age, disease, and death, transmigrate from this cycle of birth and death. That person who is serious about spiritual life, about Krishna consciousness, will try to control these senses instead of trying to enjoy the senses or gratify the senses. Right? Prabhupada has given a very good example. Who is this person? In the purport, Prabhupada has given a very good example that how a snake charmer controls the snake. So anyone will like to read this?
I'll read this.
Thank you.
The uncontrolled senses are compared to venomous serpents. They want to act very loosely and without restriction. The yogi or the devotee must be very strong to control the serpents like a snake charmer. He never allows them to act independently.
Right. So we have to become as smart as this snake charmer, who control this venomous snake, right? And how does he do that? By sort of breaking the teeth. And what we have to do is to positively engage our senses in spiritual sense objects, right? We have to look inwards towards what Herschel said is spiritual triangle, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. If we live our lives according to the instructions of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, right? Guru is a spiritual master, Sadhu is devotees, and Shastra are scriptures, right? Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. These are important. If we live our life according to these three things, then we will be able to control our senses, which are actually, dragging us down to hell. Then again, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu also gives a very good analogy. Now, what is this? This is a radar, right? And what is the purpose of radar? Is to see, it's basically something which is used by countries in order to protect their borders and see whether, there is no movement of enemy around, right? And if there is any movement, then what will they do? They will attack the enemy, right? So Chaitanya Charan Prabhu gives a very good analogy. Someone will like to read this.
I will read.
Sure.
Radar is always scanning the horizon looking for danger. Similarly, our eyes are constantly scanning the horizon, but because our intelligence is perverted right now, although we are look out for danger, but unfortunately, we consider danger to be a welcoming object. So rather than knocking down or driving away the enemy, we go and embrace it.
So the way this radar is looking out for moving objects, actually our senses are always looking around. What for are we looking around? We are scanning the whole horizon, ears, eyes, nose. And what are they doing? They're looking for sense objects. Now those sense objects are very dangerous for us, right? Now instead of understanding that they are dangerous for us, what do? We go and grab and embrace them. Why do we do that? Because in current state, of our mind and intelligence, which is polluted. We don't realize that these are the sense objects which are dragging us down. Instead of attacking them, instead of safeguarding ourselves, what we do is we do the opposite. And that is what is happening to humanity, which is being dragged down to hell. Right? And that is what Krishna is saying in this way. Yada samaharte jayam kurma anganiva sarvashaha. We have to control. We have to withdraw our senses from the sense objects. And now one of the most important thing to control is what? Desire. Now, when we say that withdraw inwards to protect ourselves, now, if we just let ourselves caught by unlimited desires, every desire is going to create a bang in our heart, like a needle prick. Why? Why is desire going to create a bang in our heart? Because we know that it will not be possible, it will never be possible to satisfy all the demands, to get everything what we are desiring. And there is always going to be unscalable gap between our fantasies and finances. Right? There's so many desires, they keep coming. I want this, I want that, I want this. I just want everything. And either our finances are not going to allow to get everything, or our physical state is not going to allow us to get everything. And then what's the end result? What happens? Right? It is the heart which is full of frustration, which is full of anxiety. And if you see what is the world around us doing with advertisements, advertising industry is just exaggerating that gap by fueling our fantasies. And why do we call television as a terrible virus, which is more dangerous than the coronavirus? Because that television is sucking us from inside out. More than what you are looking at in television, you will see it will show you what you don't want to see. That is advertisements. While those advertisements, you will see all the big famous personalities. What those personalities are doing to you, they are just saying, hey, currently what you have is not good. Better you buy this thing, which is better. Every time you look at it, that is what they are telling you. They just want to make you realize that your life is good for nothing until and unless you buy this. So what is happening is what we call as unscalable fantasies, which are so difficult, which is why we see so much of dissatisfaction, so much of anxiety, so much of frustration. And we see people like, who had everything in their lives, which we cannot even dream of. What do? They just, they are like hollow shells. Even though they have everything material, they are not happy. They're not satisfied. They're not content. Recently, we saw, if people have everything on earth, what do they want to do? They want to go to
Moon.
They want to go to
Mars.
space.
Mars, moon.
Moon, space, right? Now they have flown everywhere on earth. Now what do they want to do is create one more desire to go beyond earth. That is what Sakam Karmis are doing. they realize that there is no real happiness here. So what we should do, we should go to Swarga. We are seeing that is happening, right? In their own capabilities, they are trying to do whatever they can do. But they don't know, even if they go to anywhere in this universe, they cannot be ultimately be happy. Right? What we have to do is, we have to utilize our senses in external spiritual sense objects, which are going to take us closer to Krishna. A devotee is one who utilizes these senses in loving service of Krishna. Right? Why? See, as we gave you that understanding why a tortoise is carved in the temple. It is not possible for us to 24 hours withdraw our senses. We have to use the senses. Yes, we have to use. But what for we have to use is to be understood. We have to use the senses in loving service of Krishna. Things which can take us near to Krishna. Right? And the best example on when to withdraw and when to use the senses is tortoise. Similarly, a devotee also knows when to withdraw the senses, and when to use the senses. That is what we have to do. We cannot artificially withhold the senses. It is impossible. Right? And in subsequent verses, Prabhupada has explained in the purport that how Maharaj Amrish would use his senses. So we'll discuss that, right? And then, what is this? Why is this creature doing in our session? Who is this?
A sleeping tiger.
Sleeping tiger. Yeah, not only a tiger, it's a sleeping tiger. Now, Dipeshji, if we try to kindle the sleeping tiger, what will it do?
It might just look at you and go back to sleep, or it might be angry about be disturbing them.
Yeah, if we are lucky, it will just look at us and go back to sleep if it's a lazy, or else it can devour us.
Right.
It can just attack us. So, what Chaitanya Charan Prabhu was explaining for this verse was, hibernation should never be taken as termination. We should never unnecessarily expose ourselves to sense objects thinking that nothing is going to happen to me. I am a self-control sthita pragya. Don't think too highly about yourself. Otherwise we are going to fall into a trap of Maya, right? Always take precautions. Better to take vaccine than to get an infection, right? So rather than kindling with the sense objects, with the senses, better to take precautions, right? Never think that lust has died. Now I'm at a very high state. No, don't try to pinch and see it. Don't try to unnecessarily expose yourselves to sense objects, right? So we should be very, very careful, right? If we do that, unnecessarily expose ourselves, then we can fall into a very big danger. Okay. So understanding this, what Krishna is now explaining in the subsequent verse. Who is going to recite this?
I can recite Sumitji.
Yeah, please.
Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate.
Thank you very much. So, who will read this translation?
Yeah, I will read it.
Thank you.
Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness.
Right. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, right? Okay, fine. We are restricting like a tortoise, but then what? The taste of sense object remains. You know what we were talking about. Don't try to kindle a sleeping tiger. Don't think that you are, fully self-controlled. Don't unnecessarily try to think that hibernation to be termination. That I am in full control of my desire of enjoyment, right? So instead, what we should do is we should utilize our senses in experiencing a higher taste. Param drishtva nivartate. Now there is a difference between vinivartante and nivartate. Vinivartante is like, forced, lot of restriction. Vishya, what does Vishya means? Huh? Sense
objects.
Right? And vinivartante means restricting them, refraining them, right? Nirharasya dehina. These sense objects are ahar. So without exposure to these sense objects, the senses feel as if we are not getting sufficient ahar. We are not getting sufficient food, right? We are restricting them. Raso varjam, raso asya. What we have to do is to utilize our senses for something higher. Param drishtva, right? Now the literary meaning of drishtva is sometimes vision, right? But Prabhupada has translated it at higher taste. Why? Param drishtva nivartate. By experiencing a higher taste. The taste is not about, the taste of prasadam actually. The taste is of transcendental sense objects, right? And transcendental sense objects can be anything, right? Can be our vision of deities, right? Our hearing of kirtana, our tasting of prasadam, right? Our touching of lotus feet of devotees, right? It can be anything. So we have to utilize. Otherwise, if we try to artificially restrict the senses, they are like, Prabhupada gives an example. Who is this lady? How is the face looking? Happy? Happy face or sad? Huh?
Yes, some disease, I think.
The face is looking to be very sad. Huh?
Yeah.
Why? Shanmugji, you will read this.
Some disease. The process of restriction from sense enjoyment by rules and regulations is something like restricting a diseased person from certain type of eatables. The patient, however, neither likes such restrictions nor loses his taste for eatables.
Right. So, someone who has got a particular disease, for example, someone who has got cough, right? So doctors will say, don't take cold drinks, don't take ice cream, all these things. These are going to exacerbate your cough. Now, does this mean that that person no more has taste for ice creams and cold drinks? No, that's not true. The patient has not lost the taste. The only thing they are trying to artificially control. But for how long? How long can they control? Right? Prabhupada is explaining this. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense enjoyment remains. What we have to do is to positively engage our senses. How? By experiencing a higher taste. Param drishtva nivartate. one who has tasted the beauty of Lord Krishna, one who have tasted the beauty of, the devotional service, one who has tasted the beauty of spiritual life, the nectar of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and, association of devotees, association of Krishna. For them, everything becomes, every other thing becomes tasteless. Right? So that is the example we have to understand, right? If someone is eating, for example, a dry puri, right, chapati. Now, if you tell that person, throw this dry chapati, he will say, I only have this to eat, and you are telling me to throw this. How will I survive? He is not going to throw that. But if you give him a plate full of gulab jamun, then you don't have to tell him to throw. What he will do? He will eat the gulab jamun, he will be satisfied, he will be nourished, he will be happy. So actually, Prabhupada, when he used to preach in West, he would never say or tell anyone to stop doing something, the bad habits. What he would say is, you chant the name of Krishna, you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you involve yourself in studying Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. You engage yourself in serving, in some of the other activities of spiritual life, like cleaning, right? Like drawing something for Krishna, right? Like writing something for Krishna. Whatever, there was a carpenter, and Prabhupada utilized him for carving deities of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, and also for making a cart for Jagannath, for Rath Yatra. Prabhupada had that skill set to utilize every talent in every person for some or the other service. Right? And that is what we have to do. Not to try to artificially restrict and restrain, but to positively use our senses in transcendental loving services of Krishna. Right? That is important. That is what Krishna is explaining. And here in this verse, Krishna is explaining that, a person who will try to artificially restrain, the outcome is not going to be very positive. Now, who will read this verse?
I'll do that. Okay. Yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramatini haranti prasabham manaha.
Right. So here Krishna is talking about Vipaschitaha. There was a Vipaschita, who was attracted by flowery languages of Vedas. And Krishna here is talking about Vipaschita. Vipaschita is someone who can discriminate, who knows what is good and what is wrong. So someone who knows that I have to restrain my senses from sense object. He is a Vipaschita. Here, Krishna is not talking about any other materialistic person. No. Materialistic person is always busy in gratifying the senses. So Krishna is not talking about that person. Krishna is talking about some person who wants to restrain the senses. Vipaschitaha. Yatato hi apkanteha purushasya vipaschitaha. He's endeavoring to control his senses. Indriyani pramadini. How are the senses? Pramadini means
Turbulent.
huh?
Turbulent or
You remember Shanmukh-ji, we read that,
Chanchalam hi mana Krishna.
yeah, 6.34, huh? That Pramadhi Balabhadradam, right? Pramadhini here. They are very obstinate and turbulent, very agitating. What is agitating? The senses. Indriyani. The senses are very obstinate, turbulent, very, Arjuna will say, Krishna, what you are talking about is very difficult. Right? Here, Krishna himself is saying, Indriyani pramadini haranti. Haranti means will take away. Har lena. Right? Haranti. Prashabham manaha. Prashabham means by force, dragging someone by force. What is dragging? The senses are dragging. What are the senses dragging? Manaha, senses are dragging the mind. Right? Why are the senses dragging the mind of this vipaschitaha? Why? The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjun, that they forcibly carry away the mind, even of man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control. The example Prabhupada is giving in purport is of who is this person who was attracted to the
Vishwamitra.
bells. Yeah, Vishwamitra. What? Right? So he was attracted by whom?
Shakuntala.
Menaka.
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 Vishwamitra. Huh? He was a great sage. But then he was attracted. Why? We saw this example, right? That he was trying to practice Ashtanga yoga, right? But only when he got association of pure devotees and Ram, he got transcendental. He got into transcendental loving service. Because since then he was trying to restrain the senses. He was vipassita. He knew what is wrong and right. But then he failed. Why?
He's on his own efforts.
Yeah, very good, Sharmaji. He was trying to control everything like a karmi will try to use by himself. Jnani again himself. Ashtanga yogi also. Bhakta will depend on Krishna. And therefore Krishna says in 10.10, Shanmukhji, you will recite that.
Hare Krishna. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te.
Thank you very much. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. For tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. Person, the devotee who is always engaged in chanting my glories. How is he chanting? Satam bhajatam priti purvakam, with love, with devotion. For them, what I do? Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I give the intelligence by which he comes back to me. Right? So that is the difference. Now, the point here, what Krishna is explaining is we should not try to artificially restrain the senses, but to positively utilize them. But param drishtva nivartate. We have to utilize them for positive things. So in purport, someone would like to read this?
That I can do that.
Thank you.
Krishna consciousness, it's such a transcendentally nice thing that automatically material enjoyment becomes distasteful. It is as if a hungry man had satisfied his hunger by a sufficient quantity of nutritious eatables. Maharaja Ambrosio
Amrish.
Amrisa
Amrish.
also conquered a great yogi, Durvasa Muni, simply because his mind was engaged in Krishna consciousness.
Thank you. Thank you. So we already discussed this example of a dry chapati versus plate of gulab jamun. Right? It is as if a hungry man had been satisfied with eating sufficient quantity of nutritious and delicious eatable. Right? Then everything else will look distasteful. This is compared to what? A devotee engaged in Krishna consciousness, loving Krishna, by different activities, anything. You have to utilize your skill set for Krishna, whatever it could be. like we are seeing here, all of you, are trying to do that, at least trying to understand, like Shanmukji, right? Harshad, PC, Nikita, right? You have started, and gradually all of you should, right? Many of you are also encouraging your kids, right? Like our Rajesh ji, Santosh Prabhu, right? Again, Nikita, Ashish ji, Shanmukh ji, you are all encouraging your kids. So that is service. Why it is a service? They are your kids. If you think they are your kids, then again we are in Maya. They are Krishna's kids. And so you are utilizing Krishna's kids for Krishna's service. Right? That should be our mindset. If you continue to think they are my kid, yes, you have been given a responsibility. Yes. But don't try to think that they are your kids and they should become, again, like our Shanmukji. She should also do BTech and MTech from IIT Madras. Then it will be wrong mentality, right? They should, our point should be, they should become a good devotee. Our kids should become a good devotee. We are into pharmaceutical research industry, right? Harshad, when medicine comes out, there is a manufacturing date there, right?
Yes,
When
yes.
you are providing the investigational product, there is also one more date. What is that date?
Date of expiration.
Expiry date. And also, Harshad and Ishwar and others, we know that there is also a safety profile and an efficacy profile also. How much it will be effective and how it is safe, right?
Yes.
So when this medicine is manufactured by Brahmaji, this medicine of this body, what does happen, There is a manufacturing date, there is an expiry date, and there is efficacy and safety also. You know what is this safety efficacy? How much yash this body will get, how much fame, how much wealth, how much disease, and when will it going to die? All those things are going to happen, whatever you know or not. We have many examples. See, in our industry, Harshad, Ishwar, we are all in pharmacy, Nikita, all of us are in pharmaceutical industry, right? Now, what we have seen, we are into management positions, right? So someone is a doctor. He has done so much of hard studies. Someone who is not a doctor cannot even dream, how much study, like our Shanmukji IITian can understand. He has read physics, chemistry, we have read botany and zoology. So many thick books, Some people, if they will see those books, they will faint. And others, they have not studied as much. But what is happening? They are also earning as much as the doctors and engineers, or even more. And they are happy, more happy. I have many cousins who have not studied at all. They are earning maybe 5 times, 10 times than what we are earning. So please try to understand, see through the eyes of how Krishna wants to, you to see. Try to aim at bringing your children in Krishna consciousness. Everything else will be taken care and is already being taken care. Moreover, what Krishna is saying, that ananyayas chintayanto ma ye jana pariyupaste tesham nitya abhittanam yoga shemam vahamah. That whatever you have, I will protect that. And whatever you are lacking, I will provide that. Both materially and spiritually. It is not just spiritually. Shripad Ramanujacharya, Shripad Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, all of them have commented that this is not only for spiritual things, this is also for material things. So why you are worrying? It is not that we let them, go and pick up the phone or sit in front of laptop and let them play. No. They are Krishna's children. So we have to really take care of them. But don't make them put them in anxiety. Don't be anxious. They should only, achieve this many score. They should only, they will be happy only if they go into IIT. In IIT also, parents are not satisfied if they end up getting electrical or civil. Oh, my child is useless, you know, his brain doesn't work. He could not get computer science. I don't know whose brain is not working, child's brain or the parent's brain, right? So it is good for us to understand that thing. You know, we should be content, we should be satisfied, we should be happy. That is what is more important for us. So now moving on to the next verse, which is very important verse. Who will recite this? This is very nectarian, and actually this is the first drop of nectar of bhakti in Bhagavad Gita so far, and we will explain why.
I will recite. Sumant.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta sita matparaha vasohi sarvendriyani tasya prajna pratisthita.
Thank you very much. Who will like to read the translation?
I'll do it. Sumit. One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me is known as a man of steady intelligence.
Now, Ishwar, why is this verse so important? You read the translation. Why is it so important? Were you able to track this down?
Of course, because our mind is so, as you said, it wanders around the material things, having that consciousness and keeping focus on, Krishna and spiritualness,
Yeah.
give a study.
Here, what Krishna is saying for the first time in Bhagavad Gita so far.
To fix the consciousness upon him.
Mat paraha. Tani sarvani sanyamya yukta asita matpara vashehi yasya indriyani tasya pragya pratishtitha. Tani sarvani sanyamya. So this matpara word is the most significant word in this connection. And how can one become a matpara devotee? Is explained and exemplified by the life of Maharaj Amrish, right? So now I will get you into the nectarian verse. Okay. Now there are 4 parts. Tani sarvani sanyamya yukta asita matpara vasehi yasya indriyani tasya pragya pratishtitha. So Tani sarvani sanyamya. What is Krishna saying here?
Control all the senses.
Control. Control what? Our senses. Yukta asitaha matparha. What is this? What is yukta means?
Engage.
Engage. Engage our senses in what? Matparha.
On me.
On me. Concentration. First is control. Control your senses. What should we do with control senses? Focus on me. Focus on me. Yukt asita. Right? Kim asita? Arjun was asking. Here Krishna is replying. Yukta asita matpara. Huh? This is the answer. Yukta asita matpara. And then what is the third line saying? Vashe. Vash mein karna is control. Yeah? But what more? Just control or more? Yashehi. Vashe. Vashehi. Yasyendriyani. Fully conquer your senses. Fully conquer. First was Sanyamya. Here, full control, which is also known as conquest. How would you conquest? By concentrating on me. And then what will happen? Finally, tasya pragya pratisthita. Then you will get a compliment. What is the compliment? that you become a devotee. Pratisthita. Pragya, tasya pragya, pratisthita, a very established devotee, a very fixed devotee. A devotee whose intelligence is fixed into transcendence. Right? So here we see that Krishna is explaining how we should gradually start by controlling, right? Then when you control, it's not all about control. We saw how Vishwamitra Muni failed. Just by controlling it is not sufficient. You have to, at the same time, in parallel, start focusing on Krishna. Yukta asita matpara. And then what will happen? Vashehi yasyendriyani. Then we will be able to conquer our senses with the help of Krishna. Right? And then Krishna says that you will be complimented. Right? Now, what happens when we focus on Krishna? When, see, Ravana is what? Is a personification of what? Lust. And Rama shot the arrow, right? And what we are doing? We are full of lust and greed, right or wrong? At this point of time, all of us are sadhakas. Someone who is fully controlled devotee, and others who are materialistic. And we all are in middle, right? Sadhakas. We are practicing, right? We go sometimes here, sometimes there, depending on the situation and circumstances, right? But if we bring Krishna and Ram into our heart through the ears, now the thing is, from mouth, we take the holy name of Ram and Krishna, and that enters into our ears, and through ears it goes into the heart. And when name of Ram, Krishna and Radharani goes into our heart, what will happen? Cleaning. Cheto darpana marjanam bhavamata vagni nirvapanam Shreya Kerav Chandrika Vitaranam Vidhyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purna Amrit Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sang this, Sikshastakam. Cheto Darpan Marjana. That this holy name of Krishna will clean the mirror of our heart. Bhav madhavagni nirvapanam. It will extinguish the forest fire. What is happening? There is a fire here. And what is happening to this building? It has been fully vanquished. Right? And what does the holy name do in our heart? Let's read this. Who will read this?
I will do it. As a blazing fire burns everything within a room, Lord Vishnu, situated in the heart of the yogi, burns up all kinds of impurities.
If we take the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If we take this name with full sincerity, with love and devotion, then Krishna from our mouth is entering our ears, and through ears, Krishna is entering in our heart and cleansing the heart. And cleansing the heart of what? Of impurities. And what we discussed is the impurity, thinking that we are this body. Right? So that is very important. We have to really purify ourselves. We have to control our mind. We have to control our intelligence. The way Prabhupada explained, who did? Maharaj Amrish. Now, Maharaj Amrish, who is he? Maharaj means even those who don't know. Maharaj Amrish Katha is explained in the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? Maharaj means he was a king. Right? So now I hope you know there Varna and Ashram, Varnashram dharma, we say, right? What do you mean by Varna and Ashram? There are 4 Varnas: Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, and 4 Ashram: Brahmachari, Grahasth, Vanparas, and Sannyas. Now, who was Maharaj Amrish? Can anyone tell what was his Varna? He was a king. So what was his Varna?
Kshatriya.
Kshatriya. And what was his ashram? He was a married person.
Grihastha ashram.
Grahastha. So the one ashram is Kshatriya and Grahastha combination, right? He was a Kshatriya and he was in Grahastha ashram. Now there was a Muni, Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni is not a very unknown Muni. He is very famous in Mahabharata also, right? He gave blessings to Maharani Kunti. Then when our Pandavas were sent on exile after that gambling match, then Durvasa came to Duryodhana. Duryodhana treated him very nicely. And he said, why don't you please also go to my brothers? Duryodhana was a very rascal person. Number one, he knew that Pandavas are living in forest and they will not be able to satisfy Durvasa. That is why intentionally he sent Durvasa Muni to Pandavas, so that if they are not able to satisfy Durvasa, what happens to Durvasa Muni? He becomes angry. Now please tell me, what is the one ashram of Durvasa Muni? What is his one?
Brahmana.
Brahmana. And what is his ashram?
Sannyasa.
Sannyas. So now you tell me, in comparison to the Maharaj Amrish, Durvasa Muni's both one and ashram is higher than him, right? Agree? One of Brahman is higher than Kshatriya one. And Sannyas ashram is the topmost ashram, right? Grahastha, they are lower than Sannyas. Now, in both ways, Durvasa Muni was, in one ashram sense, higher than Maharaj Amrish. Now, what happened was, Durvasa Muni unnecessarily got angry on Maharaj Amrish. Maharaj Amrish was fasting on Ekadashi, right? And Durvasa Muni, there is a particular time, all of you have now started doing fasting on Ekadashi. So when we send, there is a Paran time that you have to break your fast between this and this time. So that is very important. So Durvasa Muni had to break his fast, otherwise that fast is of no value. Now, there is one thing by which you can break the fast, at the same time not break the fast. What is that? By taking that water. So what did, have you waited for Durvasa Muni for so long? He was not coming. Maharaj Amrish, then he drank water. And then Durvasa Muni got agitated and angry. He said, how could you insulted me by drinking, breaking your fast before I arrived. And then he wanted to kill Maharaj Amrish. And he produced a demon. And by looking at all this, physically or mentally, Maharaja Amrish was not in anxiety. He was cool, he was calm. And what happened then? Does anyone know?
Vishnu protected him by doing Sudarshana. Yeah.
Sudarshana
launching Sudarshana.
Sudarshana came, killed the demon, and then what does Sudarshan want to do?
Kill Durvasa.
Durvasa also. And then Durvasa ran to Brahma, Shiva. They said, we cannot do anything. Go to Supreme Father. Went to Vishnu. Vishnu said, I cannot do anything. Only the person who can save your life is who?
Harish.
Maharaj Amrish. You know why? A person who will insult, chastise a devotee, no one on this earth or even Krishna cannot protect that person. That person will be, devastated. Up, down, center, left, right, whatever it is, that person's life will become hell. And person like Durvasa Muni, he was a sannyasi and a brahmana, right? But Maharaj Amrish was a Matpara devotee. His everything was done for satisfaction of Krishna, which is why his position was higher than a sannyasi and a brahmana. So here we have to understand that one ashram, although is important, it is not the most important thing. The most important thing is to become a devotee of Krishna. That is what is being demonstrated and explained by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita and demonstrated through stories in Bhagavatam, right? And Prabhupada, he quotes these verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, from 9th canto, 4th chapter, right? There, it is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam that how could Maharaj Amrish be so calm and so quiet, so tolerant, so patient? Because he would utilize his Gyan and Karmendriya all in the services of Krishna. Mind in focusing on the lotus feet of Krishna. Words for describing the abode of Krishna. Hands in cleaning the temples. Ears hearing the pastimes. Eyes seeing the deities of Krishna. Body touching the lotus feet of devotees. Nostrils in smelling the flowers and tulsi leaves offered on the lotus feet of Krishna. Tongue tasting the tulsi leaves and prasadam. Legs traveling to holy places. Head offering obeisances to devotees and Krishna. And desires fulfilling the desire of Lord. That is the only desire. Not desire to go to space. No, that is not the desire. Desire is to facilitate ourselves, be aligned with the desire of Krishna. And Krishna highlights in 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. What does he say? That person is very dear to me who gives this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to other devotees. And he will surely come back to. That is Krishna's desire. All of you who are understanding something, you should also explain it to others, to your children, to your spouses, to your relatives, to your friends, to your neighbors, and to community, society, and at large, to everyone. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that the person who has taken birth on this land of Bharatvarsha should first try to improve his life, become a devotee, and then spread this Krishna consciousness to others. That is our responsibility. So we should all take care. We should try to gradually, the whole thing, what Krishna is explaining here is controlling the senses, controlling the mind, making our intelligence purified, right? Transcendental intelligence, using our both karma and jnana indriya in the service of Krishna. It is not that Maharaj Amrish was just doing this, but he would do this, right? He would do this a lot. It is not that he was not taking care of the kingdom, right? We don't have to leave our responsibilities. But if we do all these things, what will happen is our consciousness will be Krishna consciousness. Then whatever other services we do will also be in a purified state of mind. Then we will always be able to remember Krishna. And last time I told you that we will introduce you to something known as mind control chart, so that we can also do it in a very systematic, organized way, right? We are all people of 21st century, so we all need something in a very organized and a systematic manner, right? You just don't want to send your kids to school who would not conduct any exams. Parents become anxious. Why the school is not taking exams? How much, if exams are taken, how much grades did she receive? Now, our daughter, she was in 10th grade last year. So the exams didn't happen. The results have not come. So when is the result coming? What is happening? This and that, right? There's so much anxiety, right? So is there anxiety or not? Or you will just say, oh, you just go to school, that's fine, whatever you do. No, you have to track down. How is she doing? How is he doing? How is he progressing? Right? Similarly, devotees have come up with a very systematic mind control chart. And we talked about the progressive stages of bhakti, right? Progressive means it is not a standstill thing. We have to progress. From our current stage of Shraddha, we have started associating with devotees, right? Then we have to continue our bhajan kriya, take initiation, right? Then anarth nivritti nishtha ruchi, asakti, bhava, prema. Prema is the highest perfectional stage of life. Prema for Krishna, right? That is what we all want to achieve. Now, how should we achieve that in a systematic manner? Is what we are going to tell you, right? I'll take 5 more minutes and explain you what it is, right? And I will share with you. So now, I hope all of you can see this sheet. Excel sheet, are you seeing?
Yes,
Yes.
you can see it.
So those who are computer engineers in IT and all corporate world, they can easily work on Excel sheet. Those who cannot, they can take printout. We will give you in a printable format. For till now, you have been tracking the progress of your children. Moving forward, you can track your own progress also, right? In something which is the most important thing. Control our mind by engaging in the limbs of bhakti. Should I increase the font or it is fine?
It's fine, Sumit.
It's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we do is most important things to start with, right? We have divided, like created into, like, for example, Hasini is in which class, Shanmukji?
7th standard.
7th. Next year, she will be in 7th standard, 5th standard, or 8th standard?
8th.
Huh?
8th standard next year.
Not in 7th again, right?
No.
And nor will 5th, right?
No.
Progressive stage, right?
Yeah.
We are talking about progression, right? So it's same for everyone, right? So here also it is a progressive stages. From Shraddha 1 round, who are chanting 1 round of Hare Krishna mantra. Sevaka 2 rounds, Sadhaka 4 rounds, Upasaka 8 rounds, and Ashray 16 rounds. So what we have done it in a very systematic manner, made like, if you are chanting, I will explain you 2 or 3 sheets. If you are chanting, you have to see, best thing is to do your spiritual practices in morning. That is why devotees, they will sleep early. There is an English saying, early to bed, early to rise. What is the next line?
Makes a man
Person healthy,
healthy,
wealthy,
and wise.
Healthy and wise.
You need health, you need wealth, and you need wisdom. 3 things. By sleeping early and by waking up early. See, it is not only spiritual, Krishna is saying, even materialistic say. Early to bed, early to rise makes a person healthy, wealthy, and wise. Right? So that is the formula of spiritual advancement also. Sleep early, wake up early. Complete your rounds before 7 a.m. If you complete, you get like this. The total points, maximum points by chanting for person who is chanting 1 round is 40 points maximum. So if they chant 1 round before 7 a.m., they get 40 points. So we will enter 40 points. So then even if he does after that, more rounds, the total will still be 40 maximum, because maximum is 40 points. Okay. Now reading. What we have to do is to read. What should we read?
Scriptures, Bhagavad Gita.
Or that or Harry Potter or Chacha Chaudhary or Manorma. No. Only Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. For now, because we are studying Bhagavad Gita, I would request if you can focus for now on Bhagavad Gita, right? So you read Bhagavad Gita, right? Okay, I read chapter 2, verse number this. You can write that. Little bit detail, right? And write how many minutes. Okay, I read 45 minutes. So if you have read more than 30 minutes, you get 10 points. Okay, you get 10 points. Hearing. So from tomorrow, it is 1st August. That is why we are hearing today. 1st August, you can do. Hearing. What did I hear? there are many lectures. I will send you a series of lectures, right? And you can select from those lectures whatever you want. Very beautiful nectarian lectures, right? I am not a great orator, but there are many devotees who have been practicing Krishna consciousness, studying Bhagavad Gita, preaching for more than 20-25 years. Very good classes. I also learned from them. So I will tell you whatever your taste is. I will send series of speakers, and I will request you if you can please hear. So here, okay, I heard, for example, some Prabhu, whatever, CC Prabhu, whatever, and I heard what, Gita chapter this, 3 verse number, if you want to write. How many minutes? Okay, 60 minutes. Points, 10 points, because more than 30. If you were able to read 15 minutes, or here, sorry, 15 minutes, you give yourself how many? 5 points. Sorry, more than, so it should be, sorry, 10 points, 20 points here, and this is 10 points. So that we will do changes. Okay, I will make a bit. So 15 minutes, then you get 10 points, right? And 45 minutes, you get 20 points here, right? So bowing down before Krishna, that Danvat Pranam. In front, if you don't have deities, if you don't have form of murti, then you can bow down before Krishna's photograph, whatever it is, right? Just bowing down, Pranam. Because I have seen, you won't believe, I was in Vrindavan, we going temple. People, they are so heavy-headed, they will not even bow down in front of the Lord. They will be like this, head will be up in the sky. Yeah. So learn to bow down, right, in front of Krishna. Then watering Tulsi plant. Tulsi plant is very important. Tulsi is Krishna Prem Pradayini. So please start this practice of offering little water in Tulsi plant. Those who don't have can buy Tulsi plant, right? Offering Tulsi and flower to Krishna, even to form of Krishna, photograph of Krishna, whatever. Just offer a flower to Krishna. So you will get 5 points, 5 points, 5 points. And then other services, like you are preaching to your kids, memorizing verses, or any other services, going to temple, whatever, so you get 5 points. So like this, you sum up these points, this and this and this. So you got 90 points. So you will write 90 points. So daily tracking, importance is of daily tracking. At night, before you sleep, complete your mind control chart. People who are chanting 2 rounds, there's little difference in point system, So this I'll copy from here, and there are 20 points. So yeah. So now they have explained not much of difference between 1 rounders, 2 rounders, instead, except for the point number. So 1 round when chanting 1 round 40 points, and for 2 rounders, if they chant 2 rounds, then they will get 40 points. So 1 round, R is round. So number of round into the points and the time duration. Before 7 a.m., between 7 to 8 a.m., then between 8 to 10 a.m. or after 10 a.m. Right? So these are the point distribution. Sadhaka, chanting 4 rounds. So reading points will be reduced, right? Not that reading or hearing becomes less important, but we are adding some important thing for spiritual advancement, which is they will only eat vegetarian food. For now, if you are eating some other animal's body, right, which is not good, right? In order to advance in spiritual life, patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayashyati tadam bhaktya upartam snami priya atmana. Krishna says in 9th chapter, verse number, if I'm not wrong, it is 26. See, I only take patram pushpam phalam toyam. I only take vegetarian food. I don't take. He doesn't say that I take, so only vegetarian. So you start, then you get 5 points. Rest, everything remains the same here. If you start chanting progressive, Hasini is progressing, all of our children are progressing, we also want to progress. Now, if we are getting 10,000 rupees now, if after 2 years we get 10,000 rupees, then we will ask our boss, why am I not doing anything? Inflation is increasing, my salary is stagnant. It should say you should also progress, right? So now when you further progress to Upasaka stage, your chanting rounds become 64 instead of 40, right? And then point system, you can work out. Then eating only prasadam. We will only eat food which is offered to Krishna. We will not eat anything. You see outside that samosa is very tasty. I'll just pick up and eat samosa, or the pani puri. Go out, the pani puri are tasty. Don't so controlling our senses. Yukta asita mat paraha. We will only take food which are offered. So everything which is made in the kitchen is bhoga. We first offer it to Krishna and we eat. So we are doing that for many years. So it is not difficult. Following 4 regulative principles. Regulative principle of spiritual advancement. No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit relationship. Right? So those principles. Deity worship. You will start worshipping deity, offer agarbatti, ghee, and all that, lamp and flower to Krishna. And then again service. Ashraya is the highest stage, after which person, if we are in Ashraya for 1 year, then we are qualified to take initiation. Right? So a person has to become sthita pragya, controlled person, yukta asita mat paraha. So this is the chart. Any questions on this chart?
So, I have one question. Why? I mean, I understand if you take, no, this is general question. So if you do more at in the morning, that will be good. But night also, before you finish all your work, we have to do the chanting. So that is given only less marks.
So what we are saying, see, maximum 40 points. It is not minimum. So you can chant, see, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. So you please recite 10.10 again.
Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogantam inamamupayanti te.
Tesham Satata.
Yuktam, always.
So we are just giving points for 16. You can always chant afternoon, evening, night, or midnight. That is not a problem. The thing is, acharyas, senior devotees, spiritualists, they say morning hours, Brahma Muhurata, is the best time for doing spiritual practice. Now, why? We will see in Bhagavad Gita, 14th chapter, Krishna will explain there are 3 modes of nature: Satogun, Rajogun, and Tamogun. When we are in morning hours, it is in mode of goodness. Then daytime, Rajogun is very prabhavi, very strong. And towards evening and night, Tamogun is advanced, right? So our mind having worked all through the day in computer, hey, why did you do that? Why did you do today? I may not meet my target, this and that. So at night, it is very good to read Krishna book, Bhagavad Gita, to calm our mind. Chanting, it is advised. You can also chant at night, at any time. But the quality, we are at a stage of sadhakas, right? So why school children generally go in morning? Because morning time is a good time. You have rested well. Now your mind is calm. You can focus on chanting. Okay? So that is why chanting primarily is prescribed for morning. That is best. But Krishna says repeatedly, Nitya, Satatam. Every time you have to do this. Every time you have to remember. Ananyayas chintayanto mam. Ye jana paripasate. Tesham nitya yogashe. Every time. But any practice, spiritual life, Prabhupada used to say, if you complete your rounds in morning, all 16 rounds, you read Bhagavatam in morning, hear a katha in morning before 9 a.m. And if then you go to office, or if you go to office, I tell you, you must have seen more than me. People get up at 8 a.m., brush in hand, khatakat brush, and run away to office. Breakfast also in office. That is the life, right? But Prabhupada say, get up early, take bath, chanting, hearing, reading, our mind will be so purified. And if with that purified mind, we go to live our life, for now, this is a drop of nectar. And the time is limiting me. And many people are looking me with, eyes that Shri Gaur, Sumit ji, band kar do isko. So I will stop here, but any other question? Shanmukh ji, was the answer satisfactory?
Yeah. Just clarifying question.
Any other question on this sadhana chart or other question anywhere else? So all of you will like to fill the sadhana chart. Ishwara is here.
Yes, Sumit.
Ishwara, I will like to, request you if you can please take this seva service. Then you will coordinate this distribution and like make in this something Google form or something, you can post it. And devotees, every week you will collect the information,
Okay.
make an Excel sheet, something, track down that how many daily points and who is in which class also. Class 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. That also you should have the data. And every Saturday, in first 5 or last 5 minutes, we will discuss about how is the progress going. Is that fine?
Sure, Sumit. Yeah. Okay.